laptop, so I...
Okay, great. Okay, 1 second. Let me go share my screen. Okay, so we're going to first start by looking at a couple of the examples that you guys created this past week. We had a few Wisers and Answer Gardens and even a Padlet that came in from what we had done 2 weeks ago, and 2 Edpuzzle examples. Sarah, did you want to walk us through any of the samples that you did? Your Wiser, Answer Garden, or Padlet, or Edpuzzle? All of them? You did a great job doing all of them.
Oh, thank you. You know, whichever we have time for is fine.
Okay, great. So let's start with your Edpuzzle because we haven't seen too many samples of those yet.
So this I really liked this tool. I found this to be really helpful. Well, I've also found your whole course to be really helpful. I'm taking another one that's secular and it's pretty awful.
Oh, really?
So I really appreciate how you guys have formatted this.
Great.
So basically what I did is I found like a fun video on YouTube about Rosh Hashanah. And I added in, I just kind of played around, but I added in my voice to add in a couple Hebrew words at 2 different points. And then I also added in the, I love that you can do the interactive questions.
Right.
So as you're watching the video, so it's not just so where you just check out, I added in questions. And
that was
now,
cool.
is this the type of thing that once I send, like if I were to put this link on an iPad, like 3 iPads in a classroom, do the kids even need to sign in? Could they just, watch the video and click the correct?
Once you create the sample, then the student, once you create it as a, like, I think they call it guest mode, you can do it that way, and then they won't need to create an account to sign in to watch it. But if you want to create one, if you want your students to create their own, then they would need to make accounts.
Okay.
Well, one of the reasons that you should account, create account versus not create account when you have things like Edpuzzle and Wiser and things like that. If you want your student analytics and if you want to see all their responses and it collates and analyzes the analytics for you, how many students answered this correctly, how many students answered that incorrectly. If that's information that you want, the student needs to create an account and sign up to your class, which makes sense. So they're not doing it to make your life difficult. You're doing it to help you.
Yeah.
And also my rule of thumb generally is the more sophisticated the tool is, the more chances are your students will need to create an account.
Right.
Simpler it is, and that makes sense. And they deserve that. They deserve your information if they're going to offer you a sophisticated tool for free.
Okay.
Did you want to play a minute of this?
Yeah. So let's just start the first couple questions of this.
Rosh Hashanah is the Jewish New Year,
Shana Tova,
which starts in just a couple days. I invited 2 of the most Jewish people I know, Noe Jacobson and David Block. Noe's a teacher, and David is a rabbi, and they're also Maccabees.
I'll tell a tale.
We're going to talk about some of the traditional foods and traditional things we do for the Jewish New Year.
that sounds fun.
I think it's going to be great.
It's going to be great. What I thought we would do is just go through kind of the ritual foods that we eat and talk very briefly about why we eat them. So the first thing that is a ritual food to eat is a date, which is called in Hebrew tamarim. It says that we eat dates because it's related to a word that means to end, that there be an end to bad things in our life.
It's a very old tradition. You might say we're dating ourselves.
We dated ourselves by eating dates.
Oh man, haven't been on a date in years.
You're married.
I'm happily married.
These dates are so sweet. Like I hope my new year will be.
Okay, so now we have a question about that. What food do we eat on Rosh Hashanah? Who wants to answer it?
Great.
That's nice.
Woo. Okay, it looks like there is an option to skip. If you want students to not be able to skip, there is a way to save as your settings that no skipping's allowed. So students
Okay.
questions.
Second food that we eat, which is a ritual food, I didn't bother to cook them. Small beans. They
are the black-eyed peas.
They look like eyes.
Let's get it started. Let's get it started.
In here, the blessing that you say with these small beans is that our merits shall increase, and that God, or the universe, or however you choose to interpret that, should hearten us.
I would say I'm excited, but I've been there, done that.
The third food we're going to talk about are leeks. Okay, why do we eat leeks? Because it says that the word for leek is, again, here's Hebrew for you, karsi, karati, kerti. How would people in Israel pronounce this word?
Karti.
Karti. The name for leek is karati, which is related to the word
Karet.
karet, which means to cut. And we are wishing that everything bad in our lives be cut off. So that's why we eat leeks.
All right, so these were some great questions to check understanding. I'm going to stop it here just because I don't think we have time to keep going, but this was a great example. Thank you so much for making that.
Thanks, Sarah.
Let's move over to your wiser, if you want to go look at that quickly. So Reed, I'm glad you made it. Welcome. Okay. This is also about Rosh Hashanah, so they can go hand in hand in the same lesson. That's great. So first we have a video.
Yeah. I don't remember all of it, so yeah, keep scrolling.
Okay. And then a matching. That's great. So we're like completing the sentence. On Rosh Hashanah, what do we say? Not shofar, not honey round. We say Shana Tova. Very cute. That's great.
And I think all the answers are in the video. I think that was the
Oh,
correlation.
okay. Great. So it connected back to the video itself. That is great. Okay, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Okay, let's check out Flo's Ed Puzzle. Do you want to explain this to us a little bit, Flo?
I actually created it because I love the song. And I don't know that I'm going to be able to leave it and use it in my Kita Aleph, but I'm working with a student privately now who is going to be in Kita Bet.
Okay.
And I've been wanting to teach her this song. We haven't gotten to it. So I thought maybe if nothing else, I would send it to her parent. I don't think she would be able to do it independently.
Okay.
To be able to enjoy, and even with her parent facilitating, allow her to derive some meaning from it.
Excellent. Okay, so should we start the video?
לפעמים אני עצוב ולפעמים שמח, לפעמים אני זוכר ולפעמים שוכח, לפעמים אני שבע, לפעמים רעב.
Wow, what is this from? That's beautiful.
And the Flo made this. She did a great job. So we have our question now. Hayelad atzuv o sameach. So we got sameach. We can submit. Thank you.
רעב, לפעמים אני כועס ולפעמים אוהב, אבל אני תמיד נשאר אני, תמיד נשאר אני, תמיד נשאר אני, אבל אני תמיד נשאר אני, תמיד נשאר אני, תמיד נשאר אני. לפעמים אני גדול ולפעמים קטן, לפעמים
Oh, so this is an open answer question. That's great that you incorporated both of those. So you just want the student here to fill out any time that they feel able. Okay, that's great. So that's a great use of different kinds of questions there. Everybody can check out the rest of that. And Flo also made a wiser, a second wiser, correct?
Right.
This one is for your tutoring student?
Yes. Very straightforward.
Okay. I'm just going to sign in with my Google account. Okay, so here you were teaching about Yachid and Rabim, is that correct?
Yechida Rabim Rabot, right.
Excellent. And when you recorded instructions, which is always great.
Yachid, Yechida, Rabim, Rabot. Look at each word and decide which category it fits in. Put the word there. Good luck. Now,
Okay,
when I recorded this, I didn't think about, and I don't want to make the directions too complex. The fact is, they click on whatever word here, and I didn't say click on the word. I actually said look at the word. I should probably say click on the word. Once they click on the word, they get the 4 options, and they click on the option. You should probably be more specific about that, right?
right. The more clear and specific is always better.
Yeah.
But.
All right, I can do that.
Figure it out. If you want to just click on one and we'll see, because I think also if you'll show them, will you be with them when you're doing this?
Well, again, this is for a student. I'm tutoring, and I'm going to be sitting literally behind.
Click in the category, Shani. If you click in the Yachid column.
Oh, yeah. It allows me to sort it this way. There's ways you can do it like this, and there's ways you can do like a drag and drop. Both are good.
Yeah. So I didn't know how to access. I didn't know what was going to happen. So
I think it's great.
This is a great way to showcase this. That is really great. Okay, thank you all so much to everybody who submitted their samples, and there's still time to do it for anybody else who did not. We're going to have 2 more tools you can make samples of also for this coming week. Smadar, do you want to talk about the differentiated instruction?
Well, can you go back to the top and press present also, if you don't mind? If you just go, sure. So again, I wanted to thank Shani for taking over last week. Can you flip back to the slide 1? And this week also, she's been very, very helpful. And I've been very impressed with all of your posts on the haiku, so keep them coming. Obviously, the best way for you to learn is to do it yourself. Watching is one way, but as we know, the best way for us to do it is to do it ourselves. So today we're going to focus on 2 tools, VoiceThread and Quizlet, just talking about Seder Hayom or Tochen. Is there another, the Israelis out there, is there another way to say agenda besides Seder Hayom, which I feel is kind of first grady?
לא, אני לא מכירה. סדר?
No.
סדר השיעור?
Do you do that for older kids also and for adults?
That are techniques, I know.
All right, well, if anyone knows a good word out there. And our focus today is on differentiated instruction, and I think VoiceThread and Wiser obviously does this as well, but VoiceThread is a great way to have differentiated instruction, and our focus is the blue arrow there, adjustable assignments, and we'll focus on that as well. Next slide. Just to warm us up, these songs, the middle one has been extremely popular. I think I listened to it today about 17 times. So our icebreaker is your favorite Hebrew song, Ma Hashir HaIvrit She'ahuv Alecha. If everybody wants to, I already put one in the chat, also my song La'uf, which Flo, your song, Ani Nishar Ani, reminded me of La'uf, so that would be for the next grade level. If everybody wants to pop their favorite song into the chat, it could either be the name of the artist, the name of the song, or if you want to be really brave and go out there and grab the link to the song and post it, you can do that too. And then we have a little collection of some good Hebrew music, which is obviously a great way to introduce vocabulary and culture.
It's like the silsulim by the same pair of Tavori and Static.
Yeah.
Silsulim.
You like them? These 2 Static boys are very popular in Israel now. My girls adore them. My boys despise them. So obviously popular with...
There's something to that.
You might want to... it's not grammatically correct.
This question?
מה השיר העברית שאהוב עליך? You can't really say that.
What would you...
העברית.
השיר העברי, או מה השיר האהוב עליך בעברית?
Oh, okay, thank you.
Shir is male.
But you can say מה השיר העברי.
השיר העברי. You can say השיר או בעברית. Yeah. בעברית is... but the song is Israeli, so yeah, I don't know. But yeah, you can say Shir Ivrit.
Thank you. Anyone recognize the 2 other singers there on the bottom?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But Static and Tavori.
Naomi Shemer, obviously, Shalem Shel Zahav. She's
on the left, yeah.
yeah, personal favorite. And the one on the gentleman on the right is David Daor, beautiful, beautiful musician.
Yeah, I like him.
Oh, his range of music is unbelievable. Anybody else want to post a song? We've just gotten static. I thought we were going to come away with a collection of some good Hebrew songs. Oh, there we go. Your mortifying favorite, Shirley. Why are you mortified?
Because
oh, I love that Elbaz.
I love it.
I understand what you mean. God Elbaz and Hashem, great choice. Anybody else, Sarah? Any good Jewish songs?
Yeah, 1 second. I have the Silsulim that I said, but I wrote something, I've got the name. It's about Mesiba. The official Mesiba or just 1 second, I want to see.
Diri, what about you? Your favorite songs?
I really like Shlomo Artzi. And but I wanted to say David Deor as a wonderful CD with Eti Ankri. It's a live show, and it's one of the best CDs I've ever owned. So they sing together. It's her songs, but they have such a great harmony together that I highly recommend it. I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, thank you. Okay, good. So I wanted us to expand our Hebrew music library because I always find it enriching to listen to more Hebrew. Okay, so let's move on. Thank you for those who added, and feel free to keep adding as we move on. So we did the feedback, that'll stay up. There are also some good Google forms. I've been going there and looking. Differentiated instruction, just a quick, we like to have a pedagogical moment before we dive into the tool. So throwing out a question to our audience, how does educational technology support differentiated instruction from what you've seen already? So please feel free to chat or talk.
I think the opportunity to use a variety of modalities in which to express themselves, especially for the young kids, if there's a possibility to talk. And instead of writing, because they're a little bit slow, you know, they're not proficient yet with that. That's one obvious way. I think also in terms of engaging them, especially, you know, we all know that the way children are learning is perhaps different than the way I learned, certainly. And that opportunity, I think, is invaluable.
100% agree. Different ways, different modalities, and EdTech, this is their world. My kids always tell me, Mommy, you're ruining technology by adding the word education in front of it. Stop saying work in educational technology. But I will not stop, and I will continue to ruin the world and hopefully bring it to their learning to enjoyable places as well. Thank you, Shani. I turn it over to you.
Okay, so the first tool that we are going to talk about today is VoiceThread. So I hope everybody's been able to set up an account by now. But before we start figuring out how to make our own, let's look at an example. So I noticed a lot of the examples that were being submitted were about Rosh Hashanah, which makes sense. It's right around the corner. Always sneaks up on you at the end of the summer. So we are going to start by looking at an example we made about Rosh Hashanah, specifically honey for Rosh Hashanah. So this is a VoiceThread. You see it looks kind of like a slideshow. And look at these comments on the side. You can have a written comment or a voice comment. So as soon as you have a recorded comment and it will start to play, you guys can listen to it. הסתכלו בתמונה של הצנצנות דבש. כמה דבש אתם חושבים שיש בפנים? הקליטו את תשובתכם. אתם יכולים להיעזר מטבלת הכמויות שלמעלה. Okay, so those were the instructions I said only in Hebrew, but then on this note over here, I wrote the exact same instructions and added English. So you obviously can customize this for your own age group, grade level that you're working on, how high a Hebrew level they have, but this is a great tool for you speaking in Hebrew, getting your students to speak in Hebrew, and even just culturally. I also included a US to metric conversion chart because in Israel, we don't use US measurement cups, I guess is the way to put it. So I first put a conversion chart only in English, and then at the bottom, I just put a few translations of kaf, kapit, kos, and liter. so that when they record, they can take a guess how much honey they think is in here. And then they can add a comment, written or recording. And you saw in my instructions that I told them to do a recording. And they'll use this terminology of metric system in Hebrew to try to give their answer. So rather than saying, I think there's 6 cups, they'll try to say, shish kosot. So now the next slide, which is continuing.
מה דעתכם? כמה דבש אתם חושבים שיש בכל העולם? הקליטו את תשובתכם.
So we're continuing on this theme, but now we're saying, how much honey do you think there is in the whole world? So I have this picture here just of some honey on display in Israel, but obviously that's not all the honey in the world. So just a general thinking question, how much honey do you think there is? So again, I had first a recording, and then I wrote the instructions both in Hebrew and English. And then we also added another question, how much honey do we think there is specifically being used around this time of year? Specifically. So you can add a few types of questions. You can instruct your students, answer some, answer all. And I like to always tell them, please answer in a recording, specify that so they know the way they are supposed to answer.
איך אתם אוהבים לאכול דבש? תפוח ודבש? חלה עם דבש? משהו אחר? הקליטו את תשובתכם.
Okay, so this was our last question, still on the theme of honey. Getting a little bit more personal, how do you like to eat your honey? So again, I wrote the same text, Hebrew and English, specified they should record. And this is my whole voice thread. It's only 3 slides. You can make it shorter, you can make it longer. But once I send you guys the link, you should be able to comment on it as well, assuming that we all have made our accounts. So I'm going to try to share the link in.
Show them how to do that by pressing the comment button right there.
Yes. So the first thing to do is, see in the middle here, there's this little circle that pops up. There's a plus sign. As soon as you click the plus sign, I've got to sign in first. Then as soon as I sign in, it allows me, I guess it does allow you to do it in guest mode. That was a question before about Edpuzzle. So that's helpful to know here, that if you're sending it to students just to view it, they don't need to sign in, but to comment, they do. So if you want to comment, click on the plus sign, and then a few different options pop up. We've got an ABC, which allows you to write. You can write in English or Hebrew. Then you click on it again. This telephone, Smadar, do you know what that's for? I don't think I've ever used that one.
You can call in and answer, but I would skip that one because I think the more important one is this vocal one right here.
This is definitely the most important one. You click allow to make sure that the computer can use your microphone, and then a countdown begins. And as soon as the countdown's over, it automatically starts recording. So let's say I would say, Ani ohevet chala im dvash. Now I click stop recording. I think that I'm having trouble because I'm also on my device with this, but Ani ohevet chala im dvash. Okay, there it went. So I can listen to it. And if I like it, I hit save. If I don't like it, I hit cancel, and then it can just redo it. And once I hit save, it automatically uploads on the side as a comment. So it comes up with your initials, so you can see who did each comment. And the students can view each other's. They obviously view the teachers. They also can view each other's comments. And you can almost create a conversation this way, that one student can say something and another student can respond in a comment to what that other student had said.
Shani, excuse me, those comments come up along the left. We see the J.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, all comments should show up in that little bubble on the left. You also, the other options here are to add a video or to upload something from your computer. And those are the other ways you can add a comment. But the best ones are probably the ABC and for sure this microphone for recording.
Well, the video cam will record you right here, right now. So if you want, so some students are shy and don't want to do that, but you've got the actors and actresses among you who will be more than ecstatic to film themselves.
The ABC, you write the answer?
Yeah.
And where do you see it? Where would it be? On the screen, on the side?
It pops up in one of these little comments on the side.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah, with this student's initials, whatever login they made. If their name is, Joe Schmo, then it would be JS on the side. So you can see what everybody's initials are.
We had a teacher.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Alyssa. Yeah.
Our students don't have email addresses, or we don't encourage that. And one of our teachers did. She bought the class thing, but it wouldn't allow the kids' comments to post. It was very frustrating, and she tried to contact VoiceThread repeatedly, and finally she just got her money back. So just make, I think it might have been a technology glitch or something, but I would just, before you do it with the kids, make sure it really works, because it was very frustrating.
So what I did when I taught and I used tools like this is I created, Sean, you can stop the screen share and pop in the link if you want. I created accounts for my students, and I made, it was at a school called Noam. So I wrote like noamstudent1@gmail.com, noamstudent2@gmail.com, etc. And I made only 3 accounts, and I gave them out to, I think I had 8 students. And I gave, each 2 or 3 students one of those accounts that I created with the password. And then I logged them in, or if they would only use that name and password. So that avoided a lot of these technical issues.
Okay, so you didn't actually create a class, you just created dummy emails, essentially.
Yes.
And then the kids the 3 that had the same email would post with the same, they would just have the same. Okay, yeah,
so,
that's fine.
Yeah, we talked about
collaborative learning.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. But then, but you hear the recording, so obviously you hear it to the student, or even if they film themselves, even better.
Right.
They can
that's a good,
afterwards, this is Shani speaking, and they'll know who it is.
Yeah, you could do that too. That's well. And they can also write their names in the comments. They can write.
I just put the link in the chat, so if everybody can click on that, you can try to add a comment to any of the 3 slides. You can guess how much honey are in the jars, how much honey there is in the world, or what you like to eat honey with.
I have a question. Is there a way to make the responses anonymous, or not show up? Like if you want the kids, sometimes you don't want them to see the other kids' answers.
Right. Since you do have to do it from an account, I don't think there is an anonymous option, unless you do an anonymous email. Maybe.
Well, if you do that, if you create the accounts for the kids ahead of time, student noam1@gmail.com. So then, okay, I know which 3 students have logged in through that, but they don't. But if it's their voice and their face, then obviously you will know.
Yeah, because sometimes, sometimes they copy each other. They're not as original. Sometimes you want them to give an original answer, but it's okay.
Right. Well, I think that's also about creating a culture of collaboration in the classroom. If you use things like the Padlet, which you've already used, right? And they can copy in Padlet as well. So, which goes back to the conversation we had at the very first lesson. What do we need to do before we give out devices in the classroom? And a little bit, right? About this is really cool what we're doing. These are opportunities that we have that our parents didn't have, that our grandparents didn't have. How do we make the most of it? And if someone says your answer on a post, what are you going to do? You have a choice. You could think of something else. You could argue. You could say, I agree with him, but this is why. And you, the teacher, can has to facilitate that conversation.
It's also a great opportunity for fair use. Like that's a great, we're always taking videos and pictures off the web, and it's a good way to say, it's not only ours.
Nice. I like that.
Great. The other thing I want to add to that is, especially if you are using this as an Ivrit tool, not that we encourage copying from one another, but sometimes the goal is getting them to speak. So even if they're speaking something similar to what someone else is saying, they're still speaking.
Technical question. In terms of the student access, we had spoken previously about the fact that VoiceThread there's only a trial access, and then you have to pay for it. So if I pay for it and my student who was going to do something at home is not paid for it, can they access through the account?
Yeah, no, your student doesn't pay for it. You pay for it, or your school technically would pay for it, and then you invite your students.
Only the one creating the voice thread needs the paid for account.
Okay.
But everyone needs to sign in, as you see.
Correct.
And again, it's a sophisticated tool. So that's why there's a sign in. So that JG is my husband's initials, Jeremy Gimbel. So that was curious to see who you were. So is anyone else posting on the voice thread? Has anyone been able to log in?
Let me see. Oh, got one. Nice. The other great advantage of VoiceThread is it saves automatically almost all of your progress. So unlike some of the other tools we've worked on, you don't need to keep reminding yourself to go up and save every couple minutes.
All right, time.
This is also a great thing to show parents, as you progress throughout the year. Imagine creating a voice thread in September from the class, and then another one, you've made a bunch, and now in November, and now January. And parents come to parent-teacher conferences, and you whip out the voice thread, and you click on their student, and you can say, well, he's really excelled, look at everyone else's, or your child really needs a bit more additional support, listen to everyone else's. And so parents, it's a great thing to show parents.
So, I'm sorry, what do you want us to do now? We've signed in, and what else now?
You can add a comment, ideally recorded, but you can write a written comment as well to any of the 3 slides.
I don't see anything. Like I'm signed in, and I don't see where to put the comment.
Click on the link above in the chat. Do you see that?
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I forgot.
No problem.
Shani, I just signed in, and all I get, and I guess it's reflecting my account, is there's nothing, there's no things. Do you want to create something? So am I accessing VoiceThread to comment to yours, or am I accessing my account to comment?
You're accessing your own account now. If you want to go into the example I showed, just click on the link in the chat, and now that you're signed in, you should have no problem accessing it.
I'm sorry. How do I put my comment? I don't see how to do that. I see the picture now.
Mm-hmm. Do you see that like plus sign in a circle?
Oh, I forgot plus. Yeah.
No problem.
Well, did it work?
Yeah, I think so. Let's see. I think I got it.
Great.
Oh, the comment on the right side, that little plus is where that's zoom in. So it's
On the bottom, the middle of the bottom.
Correct. Little black pop-up circle with a plus sign in it.
It's kind of grayed out.
It kind of does blend into the slide.
Yeah.
You have to kind of run your mouse over it.
So I'm in it.
Is that yours, Flo? Are you in now?
Yeah, that is so it has to play first, and then I can comment.
You could press the pause button, and you could press play. Scroll over the bottom of the screen, and you'll see the little plus, and then
אני
click.
חושבת שיש ליטר.
Great. Okay, so there's a plus and a minus on the lower left of my screen, which is zoom in or zoom out. And then never mind.
I don't see mine. I recorded. I don't see mine.
Do you see the plus in the middle of the screen, Flo?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I recorded, and I don't see my
comment didn't show up on the side?
No.
Which slide did you comment on?
How much do you think honey in the jar?
Are you logged in?
Yeah, I'm logged in. I see it.
That's what I see. Elisa wrote, and Marcy wrote, and JG wrote.
Oh, there's another, it might be the same initial, so it blends it in.
That was mine.
Got another JI.
That's me.
So that's 2.
Johnny, right? We are on the same account.
Correct.
So you can have two people on the same account simultaneously. Excellent.
Apparently.
Yeah. Well, we pay for it. My company pays for this service because we think it's a fabulous tool. And Shawnee is a designer, like we mentioned, for an Ivrit course for Hebrew College. And this is a very, very valuable tool. So I pay for I'm very selective about what I pay for, but this is one. Because
what's enhanced the pay, sir? Because I know that Tal loves VoiceThread and always suggests you use it.
What was the question? I'm sorry?
With the paid service.
How much is it?
Yeah, and what do you get differently with the paid service?
It's $79. It says per year, or $15 per month, and that's for one teacher, and you get 50 students can log on to that.
And the quality is better, or the consistency? What do you think is different?
You can, and if you use VoiceThread, you can only have 5 VoiceThread, and then they charge you.
I see.
It's right. Okay. It's not a difference between a free account and a premium account. It's just that the free account runs out pretty quickly.
Right. Well, I'm going to share my screen with you real quick, and here's what an educator license looks like. You get 1 educator and 50 students, some more students. And look at this one, the people who said about emails, Alyssa. Ability to create students' accounts without valid email addresses.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
We just had, that was the problem though. She created the $15 account and it was glitching. So,
right. You know. Okay, so well, that goes back to our tech people in the school. And again, that goes back to our original conversation. Who do we need support from when we use educational technology? Our colleagues from our peers, do you have a tech person in your school? I have a tech person. We have a tech person in our company who helps us with things like that. So I'm sorry she got frustrated, and I'm glad she got her money back, but ideally there should be someone to help her.
Well, I was the one who was helping her, and then we actually went to VoiceThread and they were not responsive. But I've heard, something must have been funny. I've heard from many people that VoiceThread's amazing, and so it just, it was just that one instance. So I just didn't know if that had ever happened to you, that the kids couldn't post.
Yeah, I did try VoiceThread a few years ago, and I bought it and I was not happy with it and I stopped it. And then I tried again a few years later and it was much better.
Yeah.
So these things
how long can the recording be by the kids? Or by an answer, in other words? Because I'm thinking like for tefillah, perhaps they could record themselves.
Sure. I think I don't know. I think it can be quite long, but that's kind of.
I don't think there's such a short limit.
Right.
Okay.
It's great for you to test them for their tefillah, but it's not something that I'd want to create. This is a really fun collaborative conversation. It's more about, did you do it? Yes, I did. Here it is.
Mm-hmm. Well, sometimes, after we learn to what I do with like a short paragraph or something. Mm-hmm. We might do it out of order to test how fluent they are and things like that. This could be really fun and useful. That you do a slide of selections and have them read it and record it out of order is a great way for them to check their fluency and record themselves. Could be really interesting.
That's cute. Yeah, I haven't heard about a limit, and I don't think, Shawnee, we've had that issue before. But
all right, I'll play with it. Yeah, I'll let you know.
Okay. So we are going to move on now to another great tool called Quizlet. It sounds like some of you might already be familiar with it. Is that right?
Yeah, I've used it, yeah. But somehow I upgraded it to the fact that I can record my voice, and at some point it stopped, and I didn't have time to contact them again, but I'll contact them.
Oh, okay. I think you might need a premium account actually to do the recording. Otherwise, it's a free account.
No, I did. I paid for it.
Okay. So hopefully they'll sort that out. So first, I'm just going to show you an example. This is, again, on our theme of Rosh Hashanah. This is a matching game using some of the words that you might have seen in the VoiceThread. It's first I'm just going to show you how the game looks. You make a link like this and you just click start game, and right away these pop up. And you want to start matching. All right, kaf, where's a kaf? Honey, where's honey? Dvash matok. Kapit melach, that looks like over here. Ugat dvash, tapuach udvash, sansenet dvash, tevid dvash, chalaim dvash. Let's see how fast I got. It'll tell me first place. Woohoo! I'm the only one who's done it, so I got first place. I got 20.1 seconds. So it tells you exactly what you got. I'm going to put the link in the chat now, and we'll see if you guys are able to maybe beat my score. We usually try to tell the students to try to get under a certain amount. So if, depending on grade level and the difficulty, you would say, try to do this in under 20 seconds and under 30 seconds. And then you can ask them, share your score. And it can be like a fun level of competition among everybody.
The only problem with the Quizlet is that when I use it for the lower grade and they still need the vowels, it doesn't recognize it with the vowels.
It doesn't recognize what?
The vowels. If you put the word with vowels,
yes,
you cannot do certain things. Yeah.
That's true. So what I've done to get around that problem is if you put the word in first without vowels, then you can find a matching picture for it, and then just go back to the slide where you wrote the Hebrew and add the vowels afterwards, and then it'll keep the picture.
Really?
Yeah.
Shani, you add the word without vowels, and then you add a picture, and then it lets you go back?
Yes. You guys can try the Quizlet link in the chat box. And I will show you in the meantime how to create a Quizlet. And hopefully that will answer some of the questions. You can post in the chat whatever your score was.
Shani, I did your Quizlet thing before our class. I sort of previewed, I saw your output.
Great.
So I did it there, but apparently you didn't get it. Should you have gotten what I did, or?
It should show up on the screen.
I had done it earlier today.
Did everybody play the game?
I played. I didn't beat you, Shani.
Oh, I created it, so it was easy for me to spot.
Yeah.
I also like that the words are in context, like tapuach udvash, dvash matok, tinsenet dvash. She could have just written dvash. But this way, the child learns 2 things or 3 things just from 2 simple words.
That's right. Okay, so if we want to create one, you log into your Quizlet account, and then you click on this create button up at the top here. What this makes for you is what they call a study set. The best way that we found to use this is in the matching game. There are other ways you can use it. You could do it just as flashcards. There's some other kind of game that you can also play that I've never tried, but maybe is interesting.
No, flashcards are good.
Flashcards also are good, exactly. So you have to make a title. Let's say I'm calling mine, I don't know, books. You may need to give it a title. And then it does recognize here both Hebrew and English. So if I put in book, and then I click over here a match, I could put a Hebrew word, but usually we find it's better if you're trying to teach a language to show a picture as opposed to just the Hebrew versus the English. But you see, it showed me right away a few options of books. I selected one. Now let's try the exact same thing, but typing it in Hebrew. And it again shows me, it actually shows me some school options also. Maybe they're thinking Beit Sefer, but you see the book option